film is called Wolf. Um, as you might guess from the title, it's a bit of a genre piece. It's about a guy who thinks he's a wolf, not particularly in the werewolf sense, perhaps, but he thinks he's a wolf, and then has to thinks he's a wolf trapped in a human's body, and then goes for treatment uh, at the hands of a person called the zookeeper. And as you might imagine, the treatments are quite cruel and possibly unusual. It's an interesting acquisition for Focus. As you mentioned, they've really looked abroad for films. I mean, they've looked abroad for films. Um, and lately, they've turned to genre pictures in a way they haven't really before. So they have Promising Young Woman coming up at the end of the year. They're behind Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho. It's coming out next year. They're behind. They're distributing The Northman, Robert Eggers' next film,
Mhm.
and they've pivoted towards this. And one notable film to mention is they also released Julie Ducournau's Raw stateside. And I think you find perhaps some lineage between these two films a little bit.
I'm not. I want to say that it's perhaps a different label that distributed Raw.
No, they distributed it. It was Focus World, but it's part of
Okay.
that
Oh yes, yes,
family.
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the first title I thought of because essentially what you're doing is if there are genre elements, like still this still needs to be determined, but if there are genre elements and you put in a familiar setting, um, I think that's a lot of fun. And we're going to be seeing that a lot with the monster films from Universal as well. I think what you do is you have IPs that borrow familiar type of characters, and you put it in a context where you're discussing real world problems. I think that it's an easy way to target your audience. This filmmaker, I checked out the trailer for her feature debut, which is called Nocturnal. It's a film that pretty much stayed on the other side of the pond. It's a 2019 London BFI selection, starring Cosmo Jarvis, one of my favorite breakouts of recent time, who was in Lady Macbeth and a whole bunch of cool indie titles as of late, with a Tim Sutton film and Braden King as well. Great actor. And so I looked at the trailer for that film, and obviously the title says everything that you need to know about the film. It's set in nocturnal type of environment, but I was looking at the camera work and sort of like the choices between in the fabric of the conversations between the characters in here. For this, we can expect something that's a little bit more larger. There's going to be Paddy Considine, Eileen Walsh is also there, a couple of fresh new faces as well. So it's going to be a larger canvas in terms of characters. But I think what's exciting about this filmmaker is that she's put out a lot in a very short time. And for Focus to get behind this project at this stage, where they're not even in post, I think it says a lot about them wanting to support female filmmakers. They've been attaching themselves to a lot of projects as of late. So it's a clear direction for the label, and certainly encouraging for somebody who's relatively new and really at the beginning of their film career.
Absolutely. And, I think we're seeing, you know, I think if we're focused to move into genre makes sense. Horror's having, and genre films are having a really cool moment now. And again, as I mentioned earlier, Neon and A24 are leading this space. Neon now has Possessor coming out, or it's been released, which has gotten all kinds of buzz. A24 has Saint Maud in their pocket, which has come out overseas, which come out in the UK this week or last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for a lot of labels, these sort of horror films, it's it's a bit of an easier sell for them than, you know, a traditional art house film. It's, you can cut an easy trailer to it. The budgets are usually low, and to turn a profit, it's, you know, if they get the mix of marketing and reviews right, it's fairly easy to make that money back. So it's, I think it's a double, it's really two sides of the same coin. They can support an upcoming filmmaker, but they also have something that can be successful without a lot of effort on their part, especially if the film is really good.
Yeah, the demise of the costume drama is upon us, and those are really good points that you brought up.
I'm Eric Lavallée. I'm editor-in-chief and site owner for IONCINEMA.com, and this is
Kevin Jagernauth, contributing writer for the playlist.
and together we are IndieSponge.